This video is brought to you by my lovely patrons, Alum and Cameron Strauss. For as little as $3 a month, you can get your name shouted out at the start of every Xenosector video, as well as access to bonus behind-the-scenes content, link in the description below. Hey guys, with the announcement that Tales of Symphonia is coming to modern systems, I feel like now is a good time to bring forward this video that I've been sitting on for a while. It's no secret that the Tales series is a hard series to play all the games in without owning practically every major console to come out of Japan in the last 25 years, or a willingness to swoop to emulation. Thus it's a good thing when games like Tales of Symphonia get made available on modern systems. But is Symphonia really the game most in need of a re-release? In this video, let's talk about all the main series Tales games and how badly they need a remaster. Until the announcement of Tales of Symphonia Remastered, Tales of Fantasia has probably held the record for the most number of re-releases, originally coming out on the Super Famicom, then being ported to the PS1, then the GBA, then the PSP, twice, and then again for iOS. However, despite all these remakes, we in the West only got the garbage GBA and iOS ports. Whereas, with the iOS port long since being taken off the App Store, there is currently no way to buy this game outside of second-hand sellers. Thus I think we can all agree that Tales of Fantasia is badly in need of a remaster for modern systems. Tales of Destiny was originally released in North America in 1998, making it the oldest Tales game on the list since its last release in the West. While the game got a remake in 2006, this version was exclusively released in Japan along with its 2008 director's cut. Worse than that, for people like me in the PAL region, we didn't even get to play the original PS1 release, leaving us stuck using emulation as our only option outside of forking over hundreds of dollars to buy a US copy of the game, plus a PlayStation that can play NTSC games. It's for this very reason why Tales of Destiny should probably be a top priority for Bandai Namco, as the PS2 version is one of the best games in the series, and people really want a chance to play it outside of an unofficial fan translation. Tales of Eternia was originally released on the PS1 in 2000, before later getting ported to the PSP. This gives the game the honour of being the oldest game on the list based on its last release in Japan. While the PSP remains a relatively affordable version to grab, with both the game and console not being too expensive, the fact remains that the PSP version is PAL exclusive, and the PS1 version is super expensive, plus it has that infamous naming controversy. Thus once again this game is in bad need for a remaster on modern systems. I decided to lump these two games together because they're kind of in the same boat. Both were originally PS2 exclusives before later being ported to the PSP. Both are still Japanese exclusives with no fan translations, although that is changing. As a result, both of these games should be placed alongside Destiny and being top priorities for a remaster, so that Tales fans in the West can finally get to enjoy these games like I was able to last year when I played them. Okay, now we're up to the game which prompted the list. Before the announcement of the remastered editions, I would have put Symphonia as a mid-level priority for Bandai Namco. As the flagship title of the series, Symphonia has seen multiple ports, first to the PS2, then the PS3, and later Steam. With so many versions, plus the Steam release still being readily available to this day, Symphonia is really only inaccessible to pure console gamers, which I guess is a large chunk of the fanbase. Now with that issue fixed, we can now put this game right to the bottom of the needs a remake list. Tales of Legendia is one of the few titles that only has one version, that being the original PS2 release. Much like Tales of Destiny, this game has never been available to people in the PAL regions, thus getting this game is difficult, although thankfully the game is nowhere near as expensive as its PS1 counterparts. While you might think the game is in major need of a port, it is also somewhat of a subpar entry in comparison to its fellow PS2 games, and as such I put this game a bit lower on the priority list behind the Team Destiny games, and probably on par with Tales of Eternia. Out of the three Team Symphonia games, Tales of the Abyss feels like it gets the most neglected. Unlike Symphonia and Vesperia, who got HD remasters on modern systems, Abyss's only port was a demaster to the 3DS. While the 3DS port helped with load times, it didn't fix Abyss's poorly aged graphics, which in my opinion is the game's biggest issue. This Abyss should really be a top priority for a remaster so that we can finally see this amazing game in the resolution that it was meant to be viewed in. Unlike its fellow DS Tales games, Tales of the Tempest never got a Vita remake, likely as a result of the poor sales of Innocence R and Hearts R, as well as this game being, you know, Tales of the Tempest. If this game was ever to be remade, it would have to be in the form of an R game, as I cannot see the DS version of this game being acceptable in the modern gaming climate. Heck, it wasn't even acceptable in 2006. It's for this very reason why I don't think we'll ever see a remaster of this game, as I think Bandai Namco wanted to forget this game ever existed. While Tales of Innocence was somewhat of a groundbreaking game in terms of its visuals on the DS, if this game was to be remastered, it would have to be of its R port on the PS Vita. Unfortunately, neither of these versions were made available in English, thus a remaster of at least the R version should be made available, especially because most people don't own a PS Vita, which it still remains exclusive to. While often maligned as one of the worst games in the series, Tales of Symphonia Dawn of the New World would be lucky enough to have multiple re-releases, first coming out on the Wii and then later being ported to the PS3 alongside the HD remaster of Tales of Symphonia. However, since the PS3 version, all subsequent releases of Symphonia have not come with this game, which has resulted in this game becoming more inaccessible. While in most respects it's a bad Tales game, I feel like it should be ported to modern consoles alongside Tales of Symphonia. As you might have noticed, a lot of the games in this list are in serious need of a modern port. Thankfully, Tales of Vesperia is not one of them. Thanks to the definitive edition of the game, players on all modern consoles can easily access this game, thanks in part to Xbox and PlayStation backwards compatibility. While a PS5 and X series port might be nice, it's not really needed, and as such we can safely put this game at the bottom of the list with Symphonia. Tales of Hearts is in a similar boat to Tales of Innocence, being a DS game with a later port to the Vita with its R version. Unlike Innocence, however, Hearts was made available in the West, although its poor sales means that the game is now very hard to find. With the Vita store shutting down soon, even a digital version of this game will be hard to find, thus like Tales of Innocence, a port to modern systems is badly needed. Tales of Graces has two versions available, one on the Wii, which was Japanese exclusive, and the other on the PS3 in the form of Tales of Graces F. For all intents and purposes, this game is a PS3 exclusive for us here in the West. While it might be hard for millennials like me to come to terms with, the PS3 is quickly becoming a retro console, thus Tales of Graces F is no longer readily accessible, thus a port to modern systems is quickly becoming a necessity. The same can also be said for the two Xillia games on the PS3. Unlike Tales of Graces, the Xillia games are true PS3 exclusives, which is kind of strange when you think about it. In fact, shortly after Xillia 2, Bandai Namco would port the PS3 version of Tales of Symphonia over to Steam, thus me and my friends wonder why they haven't done the same with these two games as well. Tales of Zestiria and Berseria are both in an interesting spot. Both are available on the PS3, PS4 and Steam, although the PS3 version of Berseria is Japanese exclusive. This means that they are also available on the PS5 thanks to its backwards compatibility. However, they are not available on the Xbox or Switch, plus physical versions of the game are becoming harder to find in stores as these games are over 5 years old. So a remaster would be nice even if it's just a digital port to the Switch and Xbox. And now we're up to the latest game in the series. Tales of Arise already has a version available on PS4, PS5, Xbox One and Xbox X series as well as Steam. Thus the only modern system missing a port is the Switch, which might require too much downgrading to be worthwhile. While a Switch version would be nice, I much prefer Bandai Namco work on porting older games. I will admit it's kind of depressing to see how much of the Tales series is locked up on aging consoles, along with being Japanese exclusive. Hopefully things will start changing soon with the Rise being a big hit and consoles like the Switch promoting legacy games. In the meantime, I'll be enjoying the series in the only way I can, by whipping out my old consoles and hacking them so I can play the fan-translated versions of my favourite Japanese exclusive Tales games.